Hey everyone, welcome to Dungeoneers Pack. This is Josh and thank you for joining me. In this video, instead of a character build based on a lore concept, I'm going to break down a build for the character I will be using in my playgroup's high-level Forgotten Realms campaign. I will be bringing back my Artificer that I originally played during my group Storm King's Thunder campaign. Still at the time, I was using the Gunsmith Artificer from the first Artificer Unearthed Arcana. Since then, the class underwent a ton of changes and was made official in Eberron Rising from the Last War and reprinted in Tasha's, so now it's time to give my boy an upgrade. While I only focus on levels 1 to 10, since this campaign starts at level 14, I will be breaking my usual build rules. However, I still will be focusing on building the character to the concept I envisioned him. Due to the Artificer having an incredible amount of flexibility because of the class's toolkit, I will be taking advantage of this to have my character be a jack-of-all-trades troubleshooter. But that doesn't mean I will be a slouch in combat, as I intend to build around the Staff of Lightning and Thunder, a magic quarterstaff my character picked up towards the end of the first campaign. When I originally made this character, I used the standard array for my ability scores instead of rolling for stats or using point buy, and intend to keep it that way. I'm prioritizing intelligence to support my knowledge-based skills, spellcasting, and subclass features. My character is a young prodigy who studied magic but left the confines of the library to take a hands-on approach to magic and crafting. Since I intend to get up close with my enemies, I follow that up with Constitution for a healthy amount of hit points and to increase my Constitution saves to pass those concentration checks. With his time with the party, he has come out of his shell and learned that there is more to surviving the dangers of the world beyond what's been written in his books. Then I went with Dexterity to improve my initiative and armor class. The above average Dexterity score showcases this character's nimbleness to match his quick thinking. They have learned to be quick and precise with everything they do. Next is Charisma to provide a small boost to social facing skills, as my character often finds themselves needing to smooth over conflicts before they result in violence. The party is made up of Chaos Demons. This is followed by Wisdom, and Strength is my dump stat. When it comes to this character's race, I went with Human as it gives me a blank slate to play with. I was able to build the backstory to fit our campaign. At the time, my DM was not too keen on the Variant Human option, so I went with the Standard Human. If I were to have the option to choose, I would have gone with Variant Human to pick up the Prodigy racial feat, as it would better reflect the character's intellectual and studious nature. The Vanilla Human increases all ability scores by 1, and we gain an extra language of our choice. I'll get to that language choice in just a second. On to the background. Prior to joining up with the party, my character spent his time working in Mantor's library in his hometown of Flan, but he now lives with the guilt and pain of leaving everything behind after Flan was destroyed by the Green Dragon or Gansharax. I went with the Sage background to reflect his time in Mantor's library, but also as a way to showcase his knack for learning. I'm proficient in the Arcana and History skills and learned 2 additional languages of my choice. This gives me 3 total for my race and background choices. I went with Draconic, Elvish, and Dwarvish. Draconic was in direct response to Vergansharax destroying Flan, as my character would spend time learning the language of this threat. Dwarvish and Elvish choices were for him to communicate with other party members and NPCs of those respective races. Even though this campaign is starting off at level 14, I'm still going to do a level by level breakdown for those that may be interested in playing a similar character. Starting at level 1, as mentioned earlier, I'm going with Artificer. I'm updating the character from the early Unearthed Arcana version of the class. The Artificer grants us proficiency with light and medium armors, shields, simple weapons, thieves tools, tinkerer's tools, and another tool of my choice, and I went with cartographer's tools to help navigate the party on their travels. We also gain proficiency with intelligence and constitution saving throws. Constitution saving throw proficiency is the big win here, as it will help us maintain concentration on our spells. For skill proficiencies, I chose investigation and perception. Both play into the idea of my character being inquisitive. He is perceptive of the world around him, and he is someone who will dig deeper into mysteries to uncover the answers. Magical tinkering is the first of many magic item making features that will let us give a cantrip-like property to a tiny non-magical object. Also, we can cast spells, and here's what I went with. Since I wanted to take advantage of the Staff of Lightning and Thunder, it made sense to pick up Booming Blade as my go-to damage option. To round out my cantrip suite, I went all in on utility, picking up Mage Hand, Mending, and Message. I wanted my prepared spells to provide utility and support, so I always have Cure Wounds, Fairy Fire, and Identify prepped. Absorb Elements, Catapult, Detect Magic, and Grease are all in consideration to be prepped depending on the situation. With level 2, it's Infusion time. The Infusion item feature lets me pick 4 infusions that I can place on a non-magical item or create a specific magical item. I went with Mind Sharpener and Rope of Climbing. Mind Sharpener will help me pass any concentration checks that I may have failed. Rope of Climbing is there for utility to help out teammates that, even at level 14, may struggle with vertical mobility. If I wasn't starting at level 14, I'd choose Enhanced Defense and Enhanced Weapons as buffs to my combat abilities. Some honorable mentions to consider would be Bag of Holding, Goggles of Night, and Sending Stones. Under normal circumstances, I would have chosen any of these options, but due to treasure and events from the previous campaign, I don't need these. The party already has a Bag of Holding and a set of Avenger-like communication devices that act like party-wide Sending Stones, and my character obtained Dark Vision through a story-driven event where one of his eyes was replaced by an Eye of an Aberration. At level 3, we gain the right tool for the job feature, which allows us to cobble together any tool we need for any situation as long as we have some downtime. Also at this level, we could pick a subclass, and I went with the Battlesmith, as a subclass will allow me to use the Staff of Lightning and Thunder to its full potential. Another draw for me was the construct pet the Battlesmith provides with Steel defender. As the previous version of the Artificer I played featured a construct pet, which played a major role in my character's story development. Along with the steel defender, we pick up proficiency with Smith's tools, some new always prepared spells, the battle ready feature which grants proficiency with martial weapons, and more importantly, the ability to use intelligence in place of strength or dexterity for attack and damage rolls. Next, at level 4, we have the option between an ability score increase and a feat, and for my character I went with a feat choosing Prodigy. This feat mechanically supports the analytical and intellectual personality of my character, providing proficiencies in a skill, tool, language, and expertise in a skill I have proficiency with. For the tool and language proficiencies, I went with the options influenced by the previous campaign. Alchemist tool stems from my character wanting to help out one of the party members with their brewing business, but provide additional effects to the alcohol that was being sold. Knowing the giant language was integral to the Storm King's Thunder campaign, as the group was interacting with all kinds of giant folk. When it comes to the skill and expertise, I went with the social option as my character became the party face since we had no charisma-based characters in the group. My character preferred peaceful resolution, so I went with persuasion. For level 5, we get extra attack and the ability to cast second level spells. With this build utilizing Booming Blade, extra attack clashes with a cantrip. While getting more attacks in seems it would be better, folks figured out that the math for Booming Blade edges out the extra attack damage if we can trigger the secondary damage from Booming Blade. And if you don't believe me, here's the math courtesy of RPGbot.net. You can find a link to their data in the description below. For second level spells, Enhance Ability, Invisibility, Vortex Warp, and Web are my preferred spells to have prepared. Enlarge Reduce, Heat Metal, and Spider Climb are other solid options that I consider and swap in when needed. Blur would be on this list, but since my character is equipped with a Cloak of Displacement, that provides the same benefit which comes in handy while being in melee range. With level 6, I gained the Tool Expertise feature, which doubles my proficiency bonus with making an ability check using one of my tools, and I can also pick up 2 more infusions, and I went with 2 replicate item options. Gloves of Thievery allows my character to fill in a bit for the lack of rogue in my group's party, primarily adding an additional +5 bonus to picking locks. Lantern of Revealing is another option to help the entire party able to see invisible creatures and objects. When I hit level 7, I gained Flash of Genius, which reflects those light bulb moments, able to put those ideas to use, helping myself or an ally beat a saving throw using a reaction. At level 8, I have the option between an ability score increase or a feat, and I'm going with the ability score increase choosing Intelligence to help out with my spellcasting and martial damage output. Hitting level 9, I gain Arcane Jolt, which grants myself or my steel defender's attacks some smite-like damage or a boost to the healing of my cure wounds. I can also start casting 3rd level spells. Dispel Magic, Fly, and Revivify are among my prepared options. Fly is a spell where I draw inspiration from DC Comics character Mr. Miracle. Whenever my character grants flight to someone, he drops a levitating disc at their feet that allows them to float. For level 10, I gained the Magic Item Added feature, letting my character attune up to 4 magic items and whip up common and uncommon magic items faster and cheaper. I also pick up 2 new infusions, and I went with Winged Boots and Repeating Shot. Winged Boots is for personal flight, and even though I have the fly spell prepped, I'm mainly using that to help my allies instead of myself. Repeating Shot is an odd choice at first glance, but it's there just in case I don't enjoy the magic martial playstyle for the character, or knowing ahead of time if being in melee is not going to be possible. I can swap to a crossbow and still hold my own in combat. Now getting past our usual stopping point, with level 11 I can place a spell into an object to cast later with the spell storing item feature. This is useful especially if I want to have another spell prepared but don't have an available spot for it on my spell list. When we hit level 12, I have the option to choose between an ability score increase or feat, and I went with the ability score choosing Intelligence to max out the score. At level 13 I can start casting 4th level spells. Freedom of Movement and Stone Shape are my 2 options I always like to have prepared, with Arcane Eye, Mordecaiden's Private Sanctum, and Odaluk's Resilient Spear being spells I bring in and out of my spell list. And finally at level 14 we can attune up to 5 magic items, and we ignore any class, level, race, or spell restrictions that the magic item may have. Also I pick up 2 more infusions, and I went with Ring of Free Action and Gem of Seeing. My final infusion list differs from what I suggested at each level. Artificers can switch an infusion whenever they level into the class. I took advantage of this by switching out Enhanced Weapon and Enhanced Defense for Repulsion Shield and Ring of Protection. Repulsion Shield will allow me to use my reaction when someone hits me to push them back a bit. That pushback will no doubt be against a target that I hit with Booming Blade, which will hopefully cause them to reposition themselves and trigger the additional damage. Ring of Protection with Repulsion Shield will keep my armor class the same, as both provide a +1 bonus to my armor class. I'm looking forward to playing this character again. The Gunsmith Artificer was not fun to play mechanically, but I enjoyed the roleplay I was able to provide with the character. I'm hoping the updated class can provide a well-rounded and fulfilling experience. Even though I intend to take full advantage of the Staff of Lightning and Thunder, the biggest issue is I don't have a reliable way to trigger the additional damage from Booming Blade. Repulsion Shield requires me to be hit so that the enemy can be pushed back, which is something I don't want, especially if I'm trying to maintain a concentration on a crowd control or buff spell for the team. A potential solution would be to pick up the Crusher feat. The feat adds consistency, allowing me to set up up conditions to trigger the additional booming blade damage. Going all in on attacking from range is another viable option, as it would keep me out of harm's way, lessening the likelihood of needing to make concentration checks for my spells. Taking the sharpshooter feat would help me to still deal solid amounts of damage in combat. And with that said, I want to hear from you. Tell me about the character you're currently playing. Let me know down in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Alright, I'm out of here. Have a good one.